Cofield now.
Yeah.
So it says we're live on Facebook. Good morning, everyone out there live on Facebook. Good morning, attendees. Good morning, panelists. Why don't you, number 21, why don't you diversify? That's what we're talking about today. I'm really looking forward to this one. It is something I'm actually trying to do myself. So I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone's going to tell me, so then I can do it and get on with my life. We are going to have a quick chat to the panelists. Kev, I think I'll go for you first. What are you wanting from today?
I would really like to know what people think diversify means. And I'm going to leave it there. I think that's quite a nice point. Short and sweet. Short and sweet.
It is short and sweet. It is short and sweet. Terry, what's your version?
Danny DeVito.
Good.
It's short and sweet.
There you go, Danny DeVito.
I would like, you know what, I'm looking forward to getting some ideas, maybe something I haven't thought of before, some direction or something like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Excellent. Yeah, nice one. Thanks, Terry. Neil?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how other people are diversifying their business whilst on lockdown as well, see what they've come up with, what they can do differently.
Yeah, seeing if people have already started it. Yeah, nice. Thanks, Neil. Sammy?
Yeah, I've done a lot of diversifying in lockdown, to be honest, maybe a little bit too much. But I think it can come back to things that you've done in the past and not really embraced much because it's not meant much to you then. And then coming into this line of work, I can see how all of my life experiences and jobs I've done and skills I've learned have led to this moment, allowing me to really look at them and think, well, actually, that's useful here and that's useful there. And looking at my goals and ambitions and thinking, if this works for me, it'll work for other people. And I can help other people with this. So I think it's about when you get some bright ideas and diversifying means that you can still have your business model, but do other things as well. So you're not just stuck on one track. And I think that's really important right now because of the coronavirus, is to have other things that you can do outside of just driving lessons.
Absolutely. Because from my own point of view, I was planning on diversifying. So I've taken steps. And I don't think you can diversify and it not impact you in some way. And we've got some great questions. Got some great questions from Graham H. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention people's names because I haven't checked first, but a very close person to a lot of us here. Graham he's got some good questions. Does anyone want to start anything off, or shall I open it with a question? Sorry, two questions in one.
Graham says it's okay to mention his name.
Graham Hooper came up with some really good questions. So some of them devil's advocate, which I like, and I think we need more of that, guys. We need to be stretched more with some devil's advocate. And Terry's often really good at doing that. But I think the first one, that was you, Kev, right? Ask the question again.
What does diversify mean to you? And I think for me personally, it's when you diversify, you're just changing track. You might, I mean, Sammy touched on it where you sort of like your goals and ambitions are there, but you might have to just diversify slightly to get there, or you might diversify completely. You know, how much diversifying can you do? I'll be interested to see what other people say.
Yeah, me too. Anyone got any comments on that bit yet? Di has, then Sammy. I think Di was just slightly marginally before Sammy. Thanks, Di.
Yeah, I think diversify, I mean, it's quite a broad thing, really, because we all run our own business and we gain a lot of different things within that. You know, we suddenly become great web designers and and marketeers and advertisers, and we teach people to drive. You know, so I think Diversify can be within all of the skills that we already have because of what we do, as well as the diversifying within teaching and training. So I think it's a vast subject, and it could, I mean, that's what it means to me. You know, it's using all of the skills that you've used to do a particular thing, and then using them in similar and different areas.
Totally agree. I completely agree. And I think that's what some people do when they come into the industry in the first place. When I think of other people that I've spoken to that are particularly successful, there are people that have been helping people, the hypnosis kind of people, then come into driver training because of their experiences, and they know that they can, then they've got a niche market that they can help with those kind of things, or the NLP kind of practitioners, those kind of support things. So yeah, but it's something, isn't it? We think about more, it's the transferable skills that we try to focus on with our clients and our drivers, those transferable skills, and we've got to look at that version of ourselves. Yeah, thanks, Di. I've got you, Keith. Sammy's first though.
Roughly what you've just said there, Fiona, is kind of what I was going to say. That for, you know, it can start with becoming an instructor, doing a coaching course, and then from doing that, you know, you see that actually this isn't just for driving instruction. This can help you with so many other things. And, you know, if you did a mind map on it, you'd probably be able to see just how many things are involved in your business. Like Di was saying, you know, that there's so many different branches going off. And, you know, I'm just picturing a mind map really with all of these things on it. And, you know, if something resonates with you, like for myself, I've got a background of hypnosis, NLP, holistic therapies and things like that. So for me, diversifying in that direction is where I want to go. But it doesn't mean to say that I'm going to give up with the driving stuff. It just means that means more to me, and that can help me have a unique selling point, isn't it? USP.
A USP
in my business. So yeah, that's what I was going to say. And it often depends on what your personal goals, your personal values and everything else are as to which way you go, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Sammy. Keith?
Yeah, so I was told many years ago by a millionaire. He said, never keep all your eggs in one basket. And that's basically always look for other things. Don't leave them in one basket, because if that basket drops, you've lost everything. Something I've been looking at with the help of Neil and other people, and what I've been seeing on here, is different avenues we can use with the Zoom, with our students, different types of things that we can do with our students. But I'm finding it very hard. It's getting the response from the students to come back and say, yeah, that's great. I've had a few Zoom meetings and they've been good, but I seem to be pushing more and more rather than letting them come to me.
Yeah. I think that could be how things are for us as humans at the moment in society. There's very little motivation. I think that the same way of myself. One of the reasons why we're doing these is because we recognized, you know, the Why Don't You crew, me especially, recognized that this was going to be really bad for me to not have anything, because I figured I wouldn't have any work.
Well, I feel more motivated by watching this, taking more information in, and doing different things, different avenues with paperwork, sending them out to my students, doing different types of things. And it's seems to work. Well, hopefully it'll work eventually. Once I start getting a few under my belt, I think that's what I need to do, get a few under your belt, and then things will start to tick. And take it just like a driving lesson at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that will change, Keith. My opinion is that once there's a practicality, then I think that will change once we get going again with some form of, however it's going to be. I think that will change, but it's keeping moving forward. Thanks, Terry. You've got a comment.
Yeah.
Apart from being muted, Terry, it's all very interesting.
I didn't mute myself. That's why I forgot.
I know. Someone else did.
Someone else muted me. Comment from Graham. Diversify allows you to look at life. So I think it popped up. To look at life from a different angle and bring stuff that you have never thought, and shows you a new perspective on life.
Yeah.
That's what Graham says.
Yeah, that's what Graham says. It was one of the things, because a lot of us did an interview with Graham that he's put on, and I've shared it a couple of places. I haven't really, because I think, well, I was going to be interested anyway. But I already, even coming into this before lockdown, I think I had 14 different job roles. Not all of them active, but 14 different things I can access and do in different ways. And I already had those. So how many more have I got now? And will that change? But I think diversifying, it is a very personal thing. And I don't know what it means to the rest of you. I don't think everyone's answered. I don't think everyone else has answered. Thanks, Terry. Thanks, Terry. Phil, I was going to, another comment. Just, all right. Another comment.
Graham says it can take 6 months to build a steady audience. In other words, ones that aren't drunk, I think it means by that. It means constant contact and content. We often fall too soon rather than picking ourselves up and starting again. That's what we tell kids.
Yeah, well, we do tell kids to do that. Neil, are you all right? Because we haven't said much.
Yeah, I think really diversifying is enlarging and varying the products that you've got in your field of operation, which is something that I've started to do and encouraging in my driving school as well, with my other instructors, and taking them along the way on the ride sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's just it's enlarging what skills we've got out there already.
Yeah. For me, when I think about diversifying, for me, it used to be diversifying within the industry. I've got you, Steve. It used to be diversifying within the industry, choosing things that other people have already done. Picking things. Oh, other people say they become an instructor trainer. They become trainers, and other people do this, and I think, oh, which one do I, because I know what I don't want, but I don't know what I do want. And sometimes you can't get enough information about how you do it. So diversifying, sometimes I follow the lead given by what other people do to diversify, rather than actually looking at my skill set, me, and what do I want to do, what will make me smile during the day. Because diversity in and of itself is what makes me tick. I love the different things that I do. I get a buzz out of each one of them. Doing that thing, like earlier in the week, delivering a particular course that gives me such a buzz, that is one thing, but then that helps me with all the other things and helps me with the learners. So diversity within my roles is what spurs other things on, and it actually helps everything else because I go to work enthusiastic. So diversification and diversity within my life, doing the same thing, same old over and over drove me nuts. Sorry, going on about myself. Thanks, Neil. Yeah. Steve and Phil. No, Phil, I forgot. Sorry. Steve's going.
Similar to Sammy, we have kind of similar backgrounds a little bit in a lot of things. And it's where I've either by accident or design found myself kind of heading down that route, using a lot of the techniques that I used to use. But I will say that at first I was very wary about the whole diversifying first. I think there is at the beginning, because I think there can be a bit of a danger of becoming a bit of a jack of all trades and master of none. I think you have to, it's got to be a step-by-step thing. You can't just explode onto the driving instructor scene and explain, I do all of these things, when you actually don't. You just think you are. So that was why it's taken me a while to kind of start going in the right direction. I see somebody on the Facebook group put the word driving therapist. I absolutely love that phrase. It's brilliant. I think that's a great phrase, a driving therapist.
Yeah. It's interesting how people use different things to, I'm distracted because Steve, I shouldn't have called on you. I should have called on Phil first. I think it was Phil, wasn't it? You were going to say, I'm sorry, Phil. It's not favoritism, I promise.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say was diversifying. I mean, it can be quite a small thing, or it can be quite a big change. I diversified within teaching learner drivers, because what I used to do when I very first started is completely different to what I do now. And then also within the business, you add elements onto your business, like the instructor training, the fleet training, but diversifying can be quite a small, within a small frame. And I think it's important to keep moving all the time, to keep looking to change, or see what changes are going on and see whether they do suit you.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's to see what and be open to changing back, isn't it? Trying to go down one route and then finding out, oh, actually that's really not my bag. I'm not really that interested. Yeah, is that what you mean, Phil? Actually, just
yeah, exploring. And then, like you say, withdrawing if you need to, or if you find it's the right option or the wrong option at that time. And you can always re-explore something.
Yeah, but I think mixing a couple of points, but definitely Graham's one about, I don't even know. Let's go to Keith. I've forgotten. I was trying to mix two and I can't get my head around it.
I was only just going to say very briefly, when you talk about diversifying, I did it the other day. I cut my wife's hair for the first time in her life, and we're still married.
Has she got the same cut as you?
Nearly. And she's quite pleased, so I'm happy with that. So you never know.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And it is simply diversifying can be. I've just it does make a difference, and diversifying can start from little tiny things. Right, there's some cement from Terry. I've muted you.
Yeah,
I have
know.
to for the bandwidth.
I know. I'll do it myself next time. Then I'll remember next time he says. From Graham again, I have a saying: diversify or die, 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 die. Just ask the famous high street shops. Driverless cars will come. Change is inevitable. Diversify or die, die, die.
Yes, yeah. Now I'm just thinking about the driverless cars, which is a different kettle of fish altogether. I mean that could be something to talk about at another date. But so we're getting kind of static on this one. Go on, say something, Terry, but you're muted.
What's the difference between change and diversify?
In your opinion, Terry?
I'll leave it to the group.
They need a minute to think about it. If you ask a really good open question.
Okay, in my opinion, Kev's on, boom, shut the room, Kev saves me.
I'll help you out. I'll carry on. In my opinion, is change where you completely change, Or is diversify where you keep doing the same thing, but potentially do things slightly differently, or more of?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Steve?
Diversifying is a choice. Change can be something that just happens to you.
Ha.
Mm.
Ha. Ha.
Deep, man, deep.
It was. That was very good. Yeah.
That
For a
doesn't
Tuesday.
happen often.
Terry, did you want to say any more yet? Because Phil's going if you don't.
No, I was actually going to come at what similar to Kev. It's changes when you want to move from there to over there. Diversifies when you want to go off and branch. I think that's how I would describe it. Do you like my dance?
Yeah, I did. Well, you're good at that, aren't you? World champion.
Yeah, dancing world champion.
Phil?
Yeah, actually, pretty much what Terry and Kev have said. For me, change is if I stopped being a driving instructor and became something, I don't know, a cafe owner or something like that. And diversifying is just sort of spreading from where I am now.
Yeah. Yeah, sort of industry specific then.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. I've got a question, but Neil's coming. I've got a question for you. Brilliant. I'll do that in a sec, Terry.
I think diversifying is stretching your comfort zone as well. Whereas change is completely doing something totally different, but diversifying can stretch your comfort zone from what you're not used to doing.
And that is that because some people out of your comfort zone, it sounds like an uncomfortable thing. Some people find it a wonderful challenge, inspiring, motivating.
There you go.
So it's your perspective on something. Sometimes if you change it. Here's a question that I like.
Did you want the comment first?
Yes, I did, but I forgot. The comment first, please, Terry.
It's from Young Lee. Is it the same as pivot your business?
I've never heard of that.
It's what dance schools do.
That's pirouette, but pivot
It's
is
a
a different
pivot
thing.
if you're not very posh.
And sometimes a word is just the same thing, but it's just a different word, like zone or area, I think sometimes. So here's a question. I want to move it slightly. Are there more benefits than merely financial ones? Because most of us, when we talk about diversification, most people tend to go for the financial kind of. So in your opinion, and if so, what could they be? Go, Kev.
I was going to say, just want to clarify that question. Is it the money you pay to diversify or the money you get from diversifying?
Up to you.
Ooh, okay. I'll come back to that one then. I'll let Di go.
All right, Di, you're first.
For me, I think it's twofold, really. I don't think the money is neither here nor there, to be honest with you. I think it's twofold. I think one, it broadens your mind. I think you learn more and more and more and find out exactly what you don't know. So I think some people, because I think actually some people enjoy what they do and are quite happy with what they do, and they don't feel the need to diversify. And there are others who like to soak up the knowledge and take not just themselves but their business in a slightly different direction in order to challenge themselves. And by doing so, the consequence is that they can probably earn more money from it. But I don't think the money is the thing that drives me personally. It's more about the knowledge and the challenge for me. And I think it freshens up what I do, because otherwise if I stay still, I'll get a bit stale. So I think just by moving forward, even if it's only an inch by inch, it keeps me interested, and I'm learning all the time. So that's my opinion, really. But I think it's absolutely okay if people don't want to diversify and are quite happy with what they're doing because they love it on a day-to-day basis. Good on you.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'll go back to Kev in a second. I'm with you, and I think that's what I was talking about before when I said, well, doing one thing differently changes, and it's just tiny little aspects of it change, but what you learn from one place, and it just develops us. Yes, yeah. I'll come to you in a sec, Kev. Neil, Kev.
Neil, Kev.
Neil just put his hand up, but you were first.
Yeah,
And Steve, got you.
I just think, you know, when you look at diversifying, it might be related back to the goals we mentioned that earlier. If your goal is to earn more money, what you might be thinking is, what do I need to do that's going to get me more money? So that might be learning new skills, might be doing whatever it is to get that extra money. If you are saying, I don't really want to do what I do now, I want to enjoy it more, then you need to look at diversifying and looking at different ways of doing what you already do. So you're looking at two different areas. And I think potentially what your end goal is potentially you're either moving away from something or you're going towards something. Yeah.
No, it's spot on. I'm only grinning. I'm only grinning because I know what else you do. Your own diversifications. It makes me grin because does make me smile. Neil.
Yeah, I'm much the same like that. It's a bit of both from Di and Kev. It's something that helps me motivate myself to push myself forward. The financial benefits will come in time because what I've been doing over lockdown will stand me further in front of everybody else in my area, I believe, with doing certain things that are not happening. So I'm just diversifying, and in the end it'll bring more into the driving school, I believe.
Yeah, it's interesting, Neil, because I know you and I have done something very similar. We didn't do the same day, but the same couple of days, but you and I have done something that really unleashed us. And I think sometimes people need to see what do you need to do first in order to free you, in order to diversify. And I think some people have such barriers. So there'll be loads of people out there on Facebook, and they have barriers as to why they won't want to come in and just be part of the panel because of those kind of barriers. And I think we have barriers in place that prevent us from thinking about diversifying. And I think my point just right now is, what are your barriers, you guys out there? What are your barriers to diversifying? Take a look at those. Find the solution once you've got your barrier in, once you know what the thing is. Because I want to know why people don't come and sit in and choose to be panelists. There must be a barrier there, must be concerned about saying something stupid. I say something stupid every week. I can't even remember who was coming next. And I know it was Steve and Keith.
Similar to what's just been said, actually, I think a lot of the changes that I've made haven't necessarily been with anything financial in mind. It's more been about what I wanted to do. So, for instance, when I went and did the BTEC, it was because I wanted to do things differently. Since then, I've started adding other things in because I can see that I can add that. But it's not about perhaps adding value to my lessons. It's about creating value during my lessons. If at some point, that does turn into something financial, brilliant. But in the meantime, I'm quite happy knowing that I've made the changes I wanted to make. I'm doing things the way I want to do them. And just going back to what you were saying, Fiona, I think as well, one of the things that always holds me back a lot is the fear of getting it wrong. And it's a massive holdback for so many people, whether it be driving instructors. And the thing is, when I first started as a driving instructor, I went through this thing where I was convinced I was absolutely crap. And the reason being was because I still thought of myself as a van driver, just pretending to be a driving instructor. Yeah, it's really hard to leave that mindset behind sometimes, that you're not the job you used to be. This is what you're doing now. And I think that's why a lot of people tend to stay away from perhaps being on the panel, because there is that, oh, what if I say something wrong? I do it all the time. Yeah. I say, can I talk? And I don't even usually have a complete thought.
Right, hands up panel, who really knows what they're going to say before they actually start to speak. Kev, you're not allowed to tell porkies, but that's it's just a weird, it is a weird thing. But looking at the barriers, I think that's an important part. I think that's an important part because we all want things. I speak to a lot of people that come to me and say, how do I get into doing this? And because they know I already deliver those kinds of trainings, or I've branched out that way, people come to me and say, how do I do it? And I have to say, actually, you have to want to first. And I have to try and have those conversations where I can't motivate people just because I give you a contact or an email address to motivate yourself forward. Doesn't mean to say you do it. And I think we need to push ourselves a little bit more. We can't let stuff doesn't just fall in your lap, unfortunately. Keith, you were going to say something.
I was just going to agree with all the other panelists. Do something different today to reap the rewards later on. And I feel that by doing that little bit extra now, the students are going to see this, and hopefully they will recommend you rather than someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, is change good for you? That's a good question. Is change good for you? And this is a good one. I really like this. I mean, especially at the moment, because we're all stuck. We're all stuck. But another one from Graham Hooper. This is not mine. I wish it was. How do you plan your diversification without your current business suffering? Because our businesses are suffering in a way. If anyone's not able to deliver sessions, or we're going down the Zoom route, when you get back in the car, if you wanted to diversify, what do you think your work rate's going to be like? And what's going to be the temptation? I'm glad you all put your hands up to speak when I ask a question. It's so reassuring. Good, thanks, Kev.
Can you repeat those questions? Because there's about 4 of them.
I want them well, yeah, I'm just putting them out there so you can answer whichever one you want.
Just do one.
How do you plan your diversification without your current business suffering? Go.
Plan it. Plan what you want to do. Keep people informed. And tell people. I think this is, again, sometimes I've found personally, I didn't do this at the beginning, but I found if you tell people what you're doing, people are more interested. People are more likely to ask you back, what you're doing, how's that going? And it creates something where you then have a common interest. So through this, I know lots of people on here have contacted their students, text, emails, videos, whatever they've been using, and they've kept in contact that way. So they're not doing driving lessons, but they've just diversified what they normally do to still keep that interest going. Yeah. Has it affected their business? It's probably actually grown it, because there's probably not as many people doing that as they might want to.
I think you've got a really good point there. There's something about saying that you're going to diversify to someone else. There's something about saying it out loud that cements it. I don't know what you guys, you NLP people, I don't know what you call it, but when you say it out loud, it changes it. It changes the process. This is such a ridiculous example of what I mean. But in my history, when I've heard the news that somebody close to me has died, and I'm sorry about this, but it's the only example I've got, I hear the information, but it isn't real until I turn to somebody else and explain the same thing. I don't know what that's called, guys. I know there's a thing. Are you looking it up, Kev? I hope so.
No, all my folders are just falling down. Don't worry. Carry on.
Steve might know what I'm talking about. Sammy, I'll come to you in a second. But there's something about, I hear the news, but it isn't, and it's only when I say, oh my God, I've just found out that blah, blah, blah has died. And that's the only time it goes in, and then I can start to feel it. Oh, Steve, you let me down. Sammy, go for your thing. I know it's got a name.
To be honest, I can't remember what I was going to say now because it was ages ago. But I know exactly what you mean by what you just said there. Because until I, my dad last year, until I actually told somebody about it, that's when it really upset me more, telling somebody. So I think it's just making it real. Because I think we have a way of protecting ourselves by storing these things in a certain place, and then when they come out, it's bringing that to the forefront, kind of thing.
So it makes it
that's
real.
What makes it real.
Yeah, and I think this is why people who have a plan and a goal often stick it on the fridge. It's just those kind of things. It's the same process as, in the same way you've got the where you've got the gap between a funeral and when somebody died, Sammy, you know what I mean. There's that limbo place. It's limbo until it becomes real. And I think sometimes you've got to vocalize your plan. I am going to do this. I am going to contact so-and-so about diversifying in that way. I am going to do this. I am going to do webinars with 4 pupils and do scenarios or whatever it is. Was there someone else? Keith, did you put your hand up a while ago? No. Do you want to put your hand up, Keith? Terry, you haven't said anything for ages.
It's because someone's given me a job today to look after the chat, and I'm looking after the chat.
I'm glad you've got a job. Has anyone got anything to bring up or change? Does anyone want to change?
Yeah, can I say something anyway?
Yeah.
Seeing as we're talking about diversifying, can we have a look at how many avenues there are to diversifying in our job, apart from fleet, PDI?
Well, fleet, how many versions of fleet are there? Yeah.
Well, the way I spell it, it could be 50.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Di, I've got you. I'll come to you in a second. Yeah. Good.
So I'm just thinking, if someone's watching, are there any ideas we can give them about where they can go with their badge or without the badge?
Good. I think Di was chomping at the bit, so we'll go for Di first.
I was just going to say, really, how huge a question that is, Terry. I mean, I've just looked. I mean, I'm googling, yeah, because I was interested really about what the word diversify actually meant, and it comes up with bring variety to, variegate, mix, modify, alter, change, transform, expand, enlarge, and widen. And then you came up with that question, and that makes me go, boom! That is such a huge question, because where do you start?
I totally agree. What are the usual things then? Because Terry, you just said it there. People usually go, fleet, I can get into fleet, I can teach new driving instructors, or I can do indoors kind of courses, the speed awareness type courses. They're the only things I ever hear of. Does anyone else know those kind of what I mean? Kev, you laughed. Do you know what I mean?
I'm always laughing, Fiona. I'm always laughing. I think there's so many different avenues. Can I phrase the question differently then?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say the DVSA said, and I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here, like doing a Terry. Let's say the DVSA has said that we are now not allowed to go back to work teaching learners for 12 months. The reason I've done it so large is because it's not 3 months. Maybe I'll get by, maybe I won't. 12 months. How can you use your skills that you have at the moment to still earn a living?
Steve.
Probably not what you're hoping for, but go back to be a van driver, probably. It would be relying on previous skills, previous connections, I guess, if it was going to be that long. Because there is nothing at the moment that I have that would take me out of the car, so to speak.
Okay.
But that's just probably not the answer you were looking for, but I would have to fall back on past businesses and past models of my own business.
See, I would challenge you, Steve, on that.
I would have definitely challenged him.
Let me rephrase that then.
In a minute,
I
Sammy.
wouldn't know what to do. Let me put it that way. This is where I've got to with the whole diversifying. I have ideas about what I want. I just don't know where I'm going yet. So I wouldn't know where to take it.
Kev, what would you have said? What would you have said to Steve?
If you did know where to take it, Steve, where would you go?
Come on,
Oh,
Steve.
I miss those moments.
I think you're underestimating your own skills. If you think about something we've shared together, I think you're underestimating the skill set that you have currently. Yeah, I know, I just lit red probably. Anyone else? Oh, Sammy, sorry, beg your pardon, Sammy.
I think it would depend on how much money you have at your disposal. But for me, I'd be wanting to continue to improve myself. Maybe people could take a qualification that would take about 12 months, which you can do via Zoom, or deliver a kind of a course that, you could deliver a course to people via Zoom. What could you deliver? What have you got to offer other people? I know of a course that takes 12 months. I'm not allowed to say, am I?
No, because
so,
we do quite often.
Yeah.
And there are other bits of training available, and we need this to be more diverse.
Yeah. So, you can go in lots of different directions, and you have got this Zoom at your disposal. So think about how you can use that. If we can't get in touch with teach pupils, what have you got to offer that you could do via Zoom or other ways?
Yeah. I think it's difficult because we all know each other because of a certain thing, but we need to diversify these as well. I think we need to reach more of our community in order to do, actually what the whole point is us getting better and getting more out there and being a bit of support in times of, Neil was first, and then I'll come to you, Terry.
Yeah, I think we've all got skills that we could adapt to create more income coming in. Certainly some of the things that I've done through lockdown, I could probably turn into a money-making machine if I really put it out there. But at the minute, I'm not doing that because I'm trying to encourage more business in when we go back.
I think we see barriers more than, I think when we're down about life, this is really hard for us as driving instructors. We haven't got any kind of date, and I just see what everybody I talk to within our industry and outside of it as well, People are just really low and unmotivated. We're looking for barriers. We're looking for barriers. I can't because, you know, well, what can you do in the meantime? What's a step towards? What is a step towards? And, you know, there are other things that we can do within our industry, other ways of developing ourselves. Comment, Terry, please.
I just got a comment first, just following on from Neil. I too have skills, and they're multiplying.
Are you losing control?
I'm losing control. Yeah. So.
But if you've got chills, go and sit in another room. Yeah.
Go and get a test. Go
It's
and get
the
a test.
hormones. It's the hormones. That's all. He's just an aging man. So.
Comment from Graham again. He's got special. No, sorry, this is ideas. These are ideas for what we can do in a year. Do special needs, disability, eco driving, advanced driving, workshops, post-crash coaching, pre-driver online training, selling stuff to your current market, grow a driving school, grow trainers, learn to coach to parents. I am sure there are loads. And Sammy just said, although why she didn't say it out loud on the thingy, contact local schools and see if you can deliver a training session on road safety via Zoom or in the school.
There are indoors versions of those things as well, bikeability and all those kind of things. Neil.
Just from Graham's comments there, what I start to do is virtual driving lessons with the parents and the pupil. So that is something that I'm starting to grow a bit more as well. So it's looking beyond what you do, to be quite honest.
Is everyone else clear about what Neil means?
Virtual driving lessons.
Not quite sure how you do virtual driving lessons.
So I can sit on Zoom and a parent can sit in the back while a pupil's driving, as long as the other parent sat in the front to be able to control the car. And then I can ask the questions there and then, live.
Do you mean like coaching conversations?
Yeah.
So,
Do you charge for that?
Pardon?
can you, it's very difficult, guys. It's very difficult if you just keep, do ask the question, Terry, but it's very difficult if everybody talks over, because then I can't see who's talking. Only one person gets heard. So Terry, go for it.
I'm sorry if you heard that. I'm sorry. Do you charge for that?
Not at the moment, because I've only done it with one set of parents and pupil, but it's a thing that I'm looking to improve.
So should we invite you to keep us posted on that, see how it goes?
Yeah.
It is a thing. Keith, go for it.
I was just going to ask Neil, what do the parents think of the kind of courses? As they're supposed to be very good drivers, do they feel that we're trying to tell them how to suck eggs, or do they enjoy what they see?
I didn't quite get the first bit, Keith. What's the first part?
With the parents in the background, as part of what you're doing, do they feel okay about it, or do they feel that you're trying to tell them how to suck eggs?
No, that they feel like they're learning something as well, to be quite honest. It's an involvement not only with the student but the parents, so it's a collective agreement.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Kev, we're going to come to you for a recap, because I suppose there's a tendency to go down the suggestion of what we should be getting people to do. And I think what we're trying to do is get people to think about their own thing, because if we're going to be talking about diversifying, I think it is so person specific. So person specific. So you'd have to have a chat with someone, have a chat with a colleague, have a chat with a colleague. This is why I'm a bit disappointed, because a lot of the local driving instructor associations, they're not meeting up and they're not chatting. Everyone's sort of locking down themselves in a way and getting more and more insular. And I think we're locking down. I think it's sad. Certainly the local associations that I can think of aren't really, but I suppose it's very difficult because the Zoom interface, as you know, when I just locked all you guys down, saying it's very difficult for continuity, where you've all got to put your hands up, and I think people hate that. But I don't see how else you could do it. Terry and then Sammy.
I'm mute.
I think I'd load by now, wouldn't you? A couple of questions, yo. Kind of a little bit answered this from Lee, but from being an ADI, where can you go? What is fleet? How can you get into training bus or lorry drivers? What else is there? Anyone want to answer that quickly before I go on to a comment?
Well, you can answer it, I think.
I don't know how to get into bus or lorries.
Well,
I guess
that is
Kev will know
fleet.
that.
It's fleet. I don't know, Di, what's the definition of fleet? I would have thought it's full license holders and organisations and insurance, and what would you say?
Find a
I think it's
company.
training bus and lorry drivers rather than a fleet version of it.
The first step would probably find a company that deals with that straight away to get experience, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, if it's just fleet, it's company drivers, and you don't have to hold the license. But if you want to train people to drive HGV or drive anything apart from a car, you have to have held that license. So it depends on what you want to do. If you want to train people to drive the vehicle, you have to hold the license. If you're doing fleet work, which is really working with company drivers already holding that license, then you don't have to have that license. How would you get into it? Go and find companies who deliver it.
Yeah, sorry. Sammy's son's just turned up. Hi, Sammy's son. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name. Really sorry. I do beg your pardon. Terry. Thanks, Di.
What can an ex-PDI do? That's from Steph.
An ex-PDI. Now, there you go. A bit more information about what an ex-PDI is. That an ADI or someone who's?
I think it's someone, not naming Steph. I think it's someone who's was training, has now left, trained to be a PDI.
Become an examiner.
Yeah.
Become an examiner.
As a just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
My quick answer to that is don't give up. Don't be an ex-PDI. Get back into trading as soon as you can and become an ADI.
Yeah.
Boom.
Talk to people. Find out. Yes, talk to people, locals. Terry.
One more from Graham. Do we put barriers in the way of diversifying? Is this because of our preconceived perception of what others may think, or what we think others may think?
Well, thanks for the comment, Graham, but it means that you were doing other stuff and not totally listening, because we've already touched on that barrier thing and just a little bit ago. He's doing multiple things, isn't he? Isn't it funny when you know people?
He's diversifying.
Graham Hooper, focus and concentrate.
He's organising the golf tournament.
I think the barriers are the most important thing, and that is my biggest point about this. Look at what your barriers are for your version of diversifying, whatever that is for you. Look at your barriers first, and then have fun with it. If you've got something already to fall back on, what's the thing? Just, expand, but you've got to spend the time and you've got to put the effort in. This is all about effort. Look for your barriers, make the effort to find a way to get through your barriers. I'm trying to do that myself. I think that's it. Did anyone else have anything? I don't think I'm talking over people. Stop giggling. Graham's writing probably crazy things on the chat and I can't see any of them. Sorry, Graham. Kev.
Summary, yeah. Okay.
To say, Steve.
What was that, Sammy?
I thought I saw Steve with his hand up.
Kev.
I did, but it's not. Don't worry. It's fine.
Thought you was going to reply then, Steve. Okay. So diversify. And we came up with a couple of things at the beginning. Personal goals might have a bearing on what you do. Never put all your eggs in one basket is a phrase that comes to mind from Keith, sorry. Allows you to look at things that you never looked at before. Can take up to 6 months to build an audience. Enlarging the skills what you already have. Choosing what people have already done, but you need to look at what you want first. You got a danger of becoming a jack of all trades or master of none. Was Steve, and he mentioned a phrase mentioned was becoming a driving therapist. Quite like that. It can be small or large, but keep moving or revisiting what you've already done. I think that was from Phil. And then we had change and diversify. What's the difference? And we came up with changes like moving away, and diversify is spreading or stretching out of your comfort zone. But Di mentioned later the actual meaning of diversify actually puts change with diversify, so they're very similar in what they want or what they mean, should I say. Diversify to broaden your mind. What you do know and what you don't know, and it keeps you interested. And motivation to move you forward, which in turn puts you ahead of others. Onto page 2, because you lot talked quite a lot today. Barriers, find out what they are. Find out what makes you happy. I think Steve mentioned. Mindset was mentioned. Find out what your mindset is, where you want to be. And do you want to diversify? You might actually just be happy doing what you already do, which is fine. Do something extra now and reap the rewards later. We looked at different ideas to diversify. Use the skills that you already have. And Neil come up with his virtual driving lessons. So he's just doing Zoom, but he's in the car with parents. And there's lots of areas, driving related areas, that we can diversify into. Special needs, going to Driving Instructors Association, just to mention just a few of them. There was loads mentioned there. But yeah, just diversify. What do you want when you want to diversify? I think it's come out very prominent today. Make it value to you.
Absolutely. And I think, Graham said about the audience, to develop an audience taking 6 months.
Yeah.
I think in terms of business, you've got to give it at least a year for anything, at least a year for anything new that you want to do, at least a year to notice any change, advancement. And I think you'll find when you look at a new business startup, they don't even consider it a new successful business until after 3 years. But I don't know about you guys, whether you would agree with that, but I'm pretty sure that 3 years is the minimum that you want to be thinking about if you're going to be good at something, because it sometimes takes, and we all know most of our new referrals come from previous referrals. It's recommendation, 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 and that only comes with time. And that's why people, driving instructors, ADIs, find it so hard to move, because their basic client base, it's very difficult for us to move. I think this one is interesting. It's fascinating. It does make me want to do something though about, it does make me want to get moving about my diversification. I am doing that. I've just got to write some more things down, put it on the fridge door so I'm forced to look at it. And I can't run away from it there. Can't run away from it. Guys, I'm going to end the Facebook live recording. We do have, it's a change of day next week. It's, why don't you, on the 24th of June, it is Wednesday, 24th of June at 11 a.m. Sorry, we can't do anything otherwise, because we've got all sorts of things going on and we need all of the crew together in one place to be able to offer this. So Wednesday, the 24th of June at 11 a.m. We haven't yet decided what the subject is. Please put some ideas in a thread if you've got anything. If you think something springs to mind, help us diversify our why don't yous. Why not? Have your say. Please come and consider being an attendee or a panelist. It will make a difference. I'm going to stop Facebook Live. See you soon, guys, and thank you all for watching on Facebook.